And I forgot to turn my microphone on. So, welcome to the Sphons CCW Live Show. Once again, I was trying to get the live show up to make sure that we were actually live, and still trying to make sure that everything is going. Facebook changed their platform on me, so it's always... And I forgot to turn my microphone on. So, welcome to the Sphons CCW Live Show. Once again, I was trying to get the live show up to make sure that... All right. Now that we don't have redundant sound. And why they have to change their platform, and then like they don't... You use the thing and then you log back in and then it's different. So yeah. It's ridiculous. So, like, whatever. So, what do we got? Class schedule. Tomorrow, personal protection in the home. 8-8 pistol fundamentals. 8-9 concealed carry. 8-23 is going to be a concealed carry class. 8-29 and 30 is going to be the pistol instructor. 9-12 and 9-13 is going to be defensive pistol. And I don't know, I ain't figured out how to get to the show to reply to comments on that. So maybe if you just go to my profile, it will allow you to bring it up just on regular. Get it? The intranet is slow with this one. Yeah, the intranet is slow with that computer. What do we got for you this week? Okay, so we got the class schedule. Range tip. Hydrate. It is, especially with the weather, it's super important to hydrate. If you get dehydrated, you can watch your own performance go down. I mean, it is literally just like that. I think all three of us have been in a situation, range day, competition, shooting class, whatever it might be, and you can feel yourself getting dehydrated, and your performance just takes a dive, and there's not a whole lot that you can do about it other than drink water, Gatorade, electrolytes. That keeps your performance up. Yeah, I know. Like, even just down there, like doing the Warrior Poet, and even down there at the shoot house and stuff like that. 3 days. Like when I did the shoot house, it was summertime, and in 3 days I went through like 2 cases of water, just trying to stay going. I think we went through an entire case or cooler full of water. Yep. And it wasn't even that hot. It was cool. And it was pouring down rain too. Yep. For most of it. So it's super important to stay hydrated. Just a multitude of reasons. So for our carry tip this week, confidence in your gear and your training. We see a ton of folks that they don't have confidence in what they're doing. They haven't tested gear. They're not confident with their holster. They're not confident in their own abilities. They're just kind of a mess. Practice. Get some extra training. There's a ton of different things that you can do. Dry fire practice, draw practice with snap caps. I mean, there's just a ton of stuff that you can do to make sure that you're confident in your abilities, and then confident in your training and your gear. Test your gear. Go to the range and test it. Test it while you're doing your dry fire practice. and stuff that we see a lot of people having trouble with is just general pistol handling. And then knowing how your gear is going to mesh together. We see too many times, hear too many times, well, my carry rotation. Listen, guys, there shouldn't be a rotation for carry unless it's all of the same manual of arms. You can't go from one to the other without spending some time practicing with both sets and knowing what you're doing either way.
Yeah.
And then, changing holsters around. We see a lot of people changing holsters around. And I change holsters around too, but you got to be confident that you can make that work in any situation. If you're going to go from in the waistband to out of the waistband, appendix to 3 o'clock, whatever it might be, you got to make sure that you can make that work. I saw a guy, Walmart and Alliance in the parking lot the other night. We pulled in the parking lot there, and I see this guy walking down the parking lot, and I'm not kidding you. He's got a shoulder holster on under a T-shirt, and his gun's sticking out like this, and he can just barely put his arm down. And my first thought was, how are you going to get to that if you need to use it? I mean, you got a shoulder holster under a T-shirt. That's not going to work out for you. I mean,
and they sell them like spandex things that got the holsters under here.
Yeah.
And I've considered buying one.
Just to make fun of it?
No. I think those pockets would be great to put them big them hot hands heating pads in them pockets for deer hunting. Sitting in a stand, put them in them 2 holsters and just kind of snuggle up to them in a cold stand. I think that would be perfect.
That's the only good use for it.
That's what I thought. I'm like, there's finally a use for this.
Well, you could go the other way with it. When it's hot outside, you can get them ice packs and you can put them in there.
Stuff them in there.
Yeah.
Are you staying cool? I got ice in my shirt.
I got ice in my shirt. Kind of like a Glock in my boot.
Well, and that's like pretty much everything I carry is all, well, for the most part, most of them are all identical. I even got the same sights on them. But
yeah, all mine got the same sights on
my revolver, it's got essentially, other than the trigger, the same manual arms as a Smith's. You pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And I brought it up to this, on the live show before. If I'm going to carry my 1911, I got to go to the range and practice because it's got a manual safety on it that I just, if I don't use it for a long time, I don't use it. I don't think about it. And shit.
I just don't ever carry my 1911. I shoot the crap out of it sometimes, but I just don't carry it. I mean, I like it, but it's not. It's about twice as heavy as my full size XD. So,
yeah.
I mean, it drags my pants down, and I don't have enough mass down around there to keep my pants up. No hind end to hold them up. So, I look like a gangster walking around with my pants falling down all the time with a 1911 in a holster. Not that it ain't a good gun. Some people like it, but I'm just not going to carry it. All right, so we had an interesting week this week. And I don't know if this has ever happened in Minerva, but we had our very own protest. And we did film it, literally the whole thing.
Between three recordings, 2 different phones.
2 different phones and a battery pack.
Yeah.
It was and rain and sopping wet and had a little bit of excitement during it. That was pretty cool. Don Keller says awesome coverage on a protest. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. We tried the equipment that we had wasn't really cooperating. I tried to do a little better job of it, but I think if we get the opportunity to go to someplace and do something like that again, we're going to be a little bit more prepared. They called the protest off twice. So by the time I found out that it was going to be on and real and good to go, it was one of them days at work where you're busy all day and you didn't really have a lot of time to prepare, and we just kind of wung it. So that was pretty cool. We did get some statements and some things, and we want to go back to something that we looked at last week on this particular Ohio Community Coalition's protest in North Canton. We got some more information on the pickup truck incident that happened in North Canton, so we want to share that with everybody. Initially, the way we had talked last week, we may or may not be wrong on a few points on that, so we want to go back and correct them. But the first thing that I want to try and pull up for us here is this Mr. Butts, and I do believe that he was one of the folks that was walking with the Ohio Community Coalition.
I think he's the guy that was one of their photographers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't think he was doing any of the live video from it, but I think he was doing all their still photography a lot of their still photography.
Yeah, I think so. So in response to the Canton Repository and the Alliance Review's horrible coverage on that particular event, and the Alliance Review and the Canton Repository essentially tried to call us some bad things in their coverage, said we were standing there holding automatic weapons and stuff like that. Well, we weren't. There was a lot of residents that were open carrying their firearms, us included. We really weren't there to intimidate anybody. We were there to educate, and we did get a chance to talk to some of the folks from the Ohio Community Coalition. But this guy writes a rebuttal to the Alliance Review and the Canton Repository, and right in his first paragraph, it says, "I am appalled at the article's standard of reporting and photography that was published as news for the public to read and take as facts. The article makes the citizens of Minerva look absolutely terrible, just as other news agencies have portrayed all protesters as rioters. It is biased and unfair. The Ohio Community Coalition planned and carried out a protest in Minerva on the 7th of July, 2020. When we arrived, there was a sizable group of Minerva residents, some armed with AR-15s and sidearms." That would be us. Sizable group, probably 150, right in that mark.
Give or take, yeah.
The review paints these people as having automatic weapons with large capacity magazines and as menacing people. This is not the case. These people were protecting their town and families from the lies that the media was put out about protesters and their intentions. Also, they are well within their rights and to be doing so, refer to the Second Amendment. At no point were we threatened with or intimidated by these patriots. And he is 100% correct. I did not see any intimidation going on. I did see some arguments over some things, and that's really in the category of healthy debate. The young lady that was running the protest group at the end of it did say that things were civil. She would not admit that they were peaceful, but she said that they were civil. Like I said, peaceful kind of implies that there was really nothing going on, because there were some pretty heated arguments going on. And, some things got said, and probably some things got said that shouldn't have been said, but emotions were running pretty high. He says the crowd is very vocal about a lot of things. The most common question is why we were there or when we were leaving. This is also understandable considering the bias reporting in America. Again, they were concerned about the safety of their town and the people there. We marched. A few people trailed us yelling Trump-related responses and some obscenities. And there was a couple that were doing that. And they shouldn't have been doing that, just like, most people where emotions run high. Nothing they have not heard in other places, and also only a few people, one family. The citizens along our route standing guard, ready to protect their property and families. After we returned to the park, a few tense moments passed, and a few small situations arose between both groups. But this led to an amazing amount in time, not just for Minerva, not just for the OCC, but for Americans. Open, sometimes heated conversations were had by all. Attempts to understand why we say Black Lives Matter, that we are against racism, not white people. Many of these points were addressed in some way, and there seems to have been a bit of progress made in understanding and acceptance from both sides. The chief of police addressed us and admitted that there was room for change and training inside of his department, that the resources were not there. We offered some other avenues he could explore, such as this is supposed to be the Stark County Sheriff's Department, helping train and educate the wonderful officers of the MPD. There was a long road ahead for the movement and for the people in our great country. This was a good step forward, no matter what the review had to say. We love you, Minerva. We admire your passion and sense of community. We will be back. Maybe this time we can just have lunch in the park together. Our buddy Mike from Budget Guns and Gear Reviews is right in the middle of the picture.
You should, in a bunch of the comments, they're actually, I actually legitimately think they're trying to set up a barbecue in the park with Minerva residents.
Oh yeah?
You read through the comments, it sounds like legitimately like, you bring the dogs, I'll bring the pop, you bring the chips. And
absolutely. If you want to have a barbecue in the park,
we'll throw a pig roast or something.
If there's anybody from the Ohio Community Coalition who wants to have a barbecue in the park, get a hold of us. We'll help you set it up. And I'm not, there's probably going to be residents from the town there again. There's probably going to be some hard questions asked, and there's probably going to be some high emotions. But I think this community is absolutely willing to sit down and hash it out, so to speak. I don't think there's going to be anything really that happens. You'll probably see the same bunch of folks that you saw last time when you were down here. But I think that would be a much better display and a way bigger olive branch than marching down the street.
The people in this community are they're gonna treat everybody fairly based on their character and who they are as a person.
Yeah. We also have to we have to call out the Minerva Police Department on the phenomenal job that they did. There were some tense situations, and those guys stood out in the rain for 5 hours carrying their gear. They were soaking wet. The chief had a meaningful conversation with both sides. The utmost respect for these guys, every one of them. And, we're local, so we get to see and talk to these guys a lot more than folks outside of here. And, we can say, hey, you don't have a problem with this particular department. Just go talk to them. They won't believe us. They have to find out for themselves. And I think everybody did find out for themselves how good of a department we do have. Not that they're not capable of making mistakes. They're human, but I think it worked out well. Both sides. What do you think?
It went good, yeah. It was pretty peaceful for the most part.
Yeah. A lot of video footage. There was a ton of that. What we want to move on to here is last week we talked about Dustin Regan at the North Canton protest exiting his vehicle and pointing a firearm at some protesters. And the pieces of information that we were missing, and yes, we've gotten some more information on this, and we want to go back and relook at this, but we're not going to replay the video. But the thing is, it looks like, and if somebody has got other information to the contrary or other information supporting or anything like that, please let us know. It looks like somebody actually punched a passenger or the driver of the truck while they were trying to navigate through the protesters. They did not specifically drive to the protest. They were trying to go home. There was 3 people in the truck from what I understand. And somebody got hit with a bottle while they were in the vehicle. And that changes the whole dynamic of this situation. The other thing that we've been notified about is so the bottle cut somebody's face open. Dustin reached down to get the bottle from under the feet and the pedals, and someone punched him in the neck. Dustin exited the truck with a weapon to his side to make people get away so he could get back home. His truck was damaged. Since then, his employment was contacted so many times by the coalition, and he was let go. His mother and sister's employers have been contacted with threats made to him and his entire family. Protesters have shown up at the courthouse to harass him at his hearings. They've had to make special arrangements to get him home safe. The coalition has went to the family's Facebook and stolen pictures and posted pictures of minor children on other sites without permission. They've sent anyone that is able to help Dustin and help him pay for the legal fees that he did not ask for. Dustin is not a criminal and has never been in jail. He was a Afghan war veteran. Please share and help us get the word out. If you're not able to help us, that's fine. Help by sharing the post. We have set up an account with Chase Bank account to help supply him in this time of need. Please see the information below and please PM me for any details. And there are details in the bottom of this so that if you can help him in his legal defense fund, then please do so. This information would change the entire dynamic of that particular encounter. I will say that I still don't believe that Dustin should have exited his vehicle, and I believe that Dustin exited his vehicle thinking that he was right to keep those folks away. And I would counter that argument with Dustin should have stayed in the vehicle because of the legal protections it afforded him under the Castle Doctrine. And I think that is really, after some new information, that is really where this caused him a problem. Now, I know they're going to, or they have charged him with carrying a concealed weapon. Being that Dustin's a Marine, I'm sure that he can get that dropped because essentially he's not required to have a class. All he's got to do, he's not even required to pay for the license. All he's got to do is really go there and have the license issued. And there's an exception in the law, and hopefully he's got a good enough lawyer that he can get this exemption done where if you're legally allowed to have a license, you get caught carrying without one, they will allow you to get that. The other problems, hopefully they go away for this young man. As far as defending himself, he's in light of new information that we did not have last week, 100% correct. But I will still stand by my statement that he should have stayed in the vehicle for Castle Doctrine protection. That way, he would have had essentially the presumption of innocence rather than having to prove himself innocent to the prosecutor.
Plus, he's in a 3-ton projectile.
Yes,
It's going to be 8 beats 45, man.
Yes, and that's part of our video a little later on good use of your vehicle for defensive purposes. We all think about going for the gun first or the knife or a pepper spray or taser or something like that. But the simple fact is we have everybody as one of the most effective self-defense tools known to man, and that's a vehicle. If you're inside of it, use it to the best of your ability. So once again, if you can help Dustin out, get the information. Once again, links to everything are in the description of the show.
We got some
Click on them.
comments. Angela Rogers said there are several people working on setting up a rally with the PGR to help with escorts and funding. I'm going to ask her to post that in the comments on this video, the information, if anybody wants to look into that.
Yeah. I think Angela Rogers says his family has also been threatened per Dustin's grandma, and other authorities were called in because of the threats to the family. Now, that's just ridiculous. And if anybody from the Ohio Community Coalition is watching, you know, I would like a response to that. Is this, do you know of this? Is there somebody that's outside of your group that's doing this on their own? Is it somebody inside of the group? Let us know. If you know who it is, call them out. There's a ton of stuff that can be done about somebody like that, and one of the easiest things to do is literally just call somebody out in public on what they're doing, and hopefully that will cause them to stop. So, like I said, hopefully Angela's got the information, and I think she's listening. So, the PGR is a military veterans biker group. Bob is part of that. So, I do believe we know somebody who's part of the group. Anyway, yeah, Angela, if you have more info, put it in the comments of the video, and I'll make sure to actually get it up on our page in its own post so people can see it more readily. And on this same case, the North Canton Police have released body camera footage of Dustin, and I watched the footage, and it really doesn't capture a whole lot. But from what I understand, there's traffic cameras in the area, and hopefully, we can see those folks getting into Dustin's truck and kind of exonerate him fully, and that's going to go miles to helping his court case. I do believe this man's got family and children to deal with, so hopefully there's enough evidence that can get that out to help him out. And it seems like just the news cycle is dominated by protesters this day and age, but hundreds returned to protest outside the armed couple's home in St. Louis, and this is the couple that we talked about. I do believe it was last week that came out to protect their house during a protest. This is just not required. Now you're down to harassing these folks and just instilling more fear in them when you show up. This isn't a public official. This isn't somebody that, you know, really wanted to be in the spotlight. I get it. They had horrible gun handling techniques, but going back to their house, what good does that do you?
The St. Louis couple?
What's the purpose behind it?
Did you see?
What's the message?
They hired a bunch of private security.
Well, I would have hired a bunch of private security too with this.
They had guys walking up on the second floor and everything. They hired a bunch of private security.
You know what else I would have done? I'd have put a damn electric fence on that gate. First guy to touch it been on his friggin' hind end. And then I hung a sign on it that said, "Caution, electric fence."
Oh yeah,
because you know somebody's going to walk up and test it.
I'd have been in a livestock, feed mill. What's the biggest one you got, buddy?
Yeah, big old bull fencer hooked to that bad boy. That'll fix you. Tearing down my gate. But yeah, ridiculous. There's no message here. It's just harassing. You broke into their yard, into their development, and stirred up a ruckus. You're not out protesting at a government official, police department, or anything like that to get your message out. You're just harassing a citizen at this point. So go home. I mean, that's ridiculous. And then the next thing we got, and everybody knew this was coming. We see this a mile away. This is from Law Enforcement Today. NYPD puts a limit on retirement applications as they surge a whopping 411% this week. Two sides of this coin that have been kind of thrown up. One, they're retiring because they do something wrong and they don't want to be kind of swept up in the reform, and they're acting like babies, like I don't want to play your game anymore. The other side of it is, why would they deal with this much garbage for the money that they make and the time that they have to put in on the job? I mean, I guess I can see both sides of the argument, but I think I'm going to be on the latter. Like, if you abuse these guys too much, they're just going to throw their hands up and say, I'm done. I'm going to go get a job running a Mickey D's somewhere and make the exact same amount of money. The worst thing I got to worry about is somebody chucking a cheeseburger at me. They actually, and you go down through this article, and they actually said, so they don't have enough staffing to shift cops to one neighborhood without making another neighborhood less safe. They haven't been able to keep up with the amount of paperwork created in the retirement request, which caused a delay. There's been a 75% increase in retirement requests in July. Essentially what they're saying, if I can find this in here somewhere, is the pension section is only taking a certain amount of people per day, and they're backed up until late July, early August. So this number would be higher if they had the staffing to do more requests.
Well, I read an article on that. The staffing issue is because they also, as part of their defunding stuff, was they cut overtime for staff.
Yeah. So he's trying to get something out of the fridge without knocking a light over. So we might get some America's Funniest Home Videos footage here. Yeah, they cut the funding on the department, so they can't process enough requests for cops that want to quit. So this is one of them things. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it.
Colombia, the 70s,
yeah,
80s.
Well, and
Mexico now.
I seen a blurb. Like, violent crime is up like 280% in New York City.
Yeah.
This month.
You start pulling the last month and a half's violent crime on a lot of these major cities, and it's just like really makes me thankful that, like, me and my wife, when we want to go on vacation, we go to the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like we go off into a cabin in the mountains and just sit and look at a mountain for a week.
Yeah.
But she's not like, oh, let's go to this city.
My wife,
especially a lot of them cities anymore, I can't pack.
I know, right? Ridiculous. So yeah, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it. This is kind of a goofball article from Cleveland 19. A Northeast Ohio man sentenced to probation for threatening federal agents and voicing support for mass shootings. We go down through this thing here, and this 19-year-old kid, essentially he got the era of the FBI with multiple postings showing support for mass shootings, attacks targeting Planned Parenthood, gay bars, and assaults on law enforcement officers. I think this kid's just got a mental disease. Investigators executed a search warrant in August 2019 at the home where Olson lived to his father and found 10,000 rounds of ammo, camouflage clothing, 15 assault-style rifles and shotguns, and 10 semi-automatic pistols in his room.
Can we buy the ammo?
Those are rookie numbers. You're going to pump those up. And by the way, if the ammo is for sale, we'll buy it.
Yeah.
We need some.
Rookie numbers or not, I want the ammo.
I know, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Olson was arrested and said his posts were only a joke. Yeah, whatever, Mac. In addition to avoiding prison time, the federal judge ordered Olson to undergo a mental health evaluation. You think? And
is he wearing a padded coat?
That's my favorite part of the article. They put him in a straitjacket for his mugshot. I haven't seen one of those in years. So this kid gets a straitjacket for his mugshot. I think Silence of the Lambs was the last time I actually seen one of those in a picture or something. That's an old movie. So anyway, yeah, it was that just makes the whole article right there. The dude's in a padded coat. So, and we kind of jumbled things up a little bit here, but we're on to our self-defense video. And little backstory behind this, essentially argument in a parking lot. And what?
Corey's got a wiggle on the table.
I can't sit still.
I just feel like I'm on a boat.
So essentially an argument in a parking lot. And the argument escalated. And we'll take a look and see what's going on here.
Oh, shit, get out.
So the black car, look at this. This guy's trying to hit the windows out of this car. And there's got to be multiple. He gets through one, and now we're having trouble playing the video. Ridiculous. Let's hit refresh and see what happens. We're probably pulling too much internet bandwidth, which is sometimes an issue. So you got argument one, which is a fist fight. You got argument two. The dude trying to beat the windows out of a black SUV. And he manages to get through the window of one. The car's trying to get out of the parking lot, and the guy's in front. They back up. He makes it through the next window. They figure out that there's somebody else coming through there. He starts on the driver's side window. They knock him down with a car. That was a beautiful move right there, okay? Knocking him down with a car allowed them time to get their thoughts about them and figure out which direction they needed to go, okay? Now remember, this guy's actively trying to get in your vehicle with the weapon. He's busted out two windows. Away they go. They stop. He hits the ground. Third person tries to chase them down, and they keep going. He's not dead. He's just whining.
I'd be whining too if I got hit by a car, but
well, really, all they did is they scooped him up on the hood,
and
romped the gas, and then piled on the brakes. So he went skidding across the parking lot. There's a couple things that they could have done in the car a little better. They could have backed out and kept going backwards. They had that option. Maybe the person wasn't confident enough in their reversing skills to continue backwards without crashing into something. But they handled this effectively. Had this been somebody with a firearm in the vehicle, this would have been a situation where they could have engaged them with their firearm. However, this was a far better outcome with somebody trying to get in your vehicle. You use the vehicle as your defensive tool. And that's a fight stopper right there. That dude's not going to go back and attack that vehicle again.
Nope.
He's not moving for a while.
What's that?
He's not moving for a while.
He's breathing, but he's not feeling so good. And a bunch of his friends kind of gather around there. And I really wish I knew what the fight was over and how these people got involved. Because now you got to remember, there's still another fist fight going on. So whatever store this is, I think that would be my last trip there. It's got to be Walmart. It's got to be Walmart.
I think I saw a Kroger sign at some point.
Yeah.
You know, there seems to Walmarts and Kroger's always seem to make the
It's a
news.
sketchy place.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll eever shop at a Kroger.
Our kids are going to be
So.
telling Walmart and Kroger jokes like we tell 7-Eleven jokes all the time. I mean, because when we were growing up, it was always somebody knocking a 7-Eleven off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just like they've moved on to bigger and better things. But yeah, that's an effective use of your vehicle. The person in the vehicle, I don't think was injured. I don't really have any more information on it, but they did effectively use the vehicle. They effectively stopped the fight. They kept creating time and distance from their adversary. By staying in the vehicle, they used cover and concealment effectively. Remember, cover changes depending upon the weapon that the person has. And so it looks like there was an impact weapon. So a vehicle is now actually good cover by staying inside of it. They have to get through the windows. And then they got out of the situation. They drove to the end of the parking lot, and it looks like they stopped to call the police. So
Terry comments and he got the 7-10 split.
he did get the 7-10 split. He did. Bowling for fat dudes.
Yeah.
I mean,
Only at Kroger's.
I don't know what to set this dude off or what the gig was. I mean, what? It's still amazing to me. There's still another fist fight.
Yeah, I don't know what. Is that two separate? Like, did there just so happen to be like two completely different separate fights break out? Or there is the possibility that the person in the car was like, "Man, I'm getting out of here."
Yeah,
you don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they stirred up a bunch of crap and then decided to bolt. It could be. I have no idea, but yeah, it worked. I'll tell you that. And like most of this kind of stuff, we had no outcome on it. It was a recent video, but where it's going and where it's at, nothing like that. I don't know. So effective use of your tool and good job. And I missed a bunch of Rob G and Budget Guns and Gear reviews. I missed your comments because the news was up. Sorry about that.
Mike was on Facebook.
They're trash anymore. Rob G, your car is a weapon. Absolutely. We've said that time and time again. Your car is a weapon, and it's a good one too. So anyway,
You figure a dinky car weighs 1 full gross ton.
Yeah,
just 2,200 pounds. I don't know if any of you ever been out there, ever been mowed over by like a 600-pound like yearling steer. Ow!
Oh yeah, that hurts like
so
crazy.
You take something that weighs 3 times that, 4 times that, and that's a little car. You know, your little hatchback Kia, weighs 2,200, 2,500 pounds. Now you're driving something a little bit bigger. Now you're getting to 3,000. My Tahoe weighs 6,000 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost 3 full ton.
Yeah.
That's gonna hurt.
Right?
Hurt bad.
Yeah. Yeah, my 1 ton weighs 99.85. So
what bolt did they take out to keep it under 10?
I don't have any idea, but it's a heavy son of a gun. And it rides like a heavy son of a gun too sometimes. So, all right. So, product of the week. Being that we're so friggin' busy. Black Hills Ammo, awesome stuff. I got the box upside down, don't I? What an idiot. Look at that. Now you can read it. Practice and training, that's our product of the week. You don't know what you don't know. And I can't tell you how many times I've gone somewhere for training class and this little light bulb go off. Boom. Oh, that's pretty cool. And then you go somewhere else and that light bulb ties to another light bulb that went off. And then all of a sudden you put this picture together and it works. And then you take that series of light bulbs and you take it to the range, you take it to life, you take it to a defensive situation, and you can apply it. And then that little light bulb goes off. And so that's our product of the week. Go out, get some information from somebody who's qualified to deliver the information. And I don't care if you pay for it or not. Go talk to somebody who's knowledgeable on this subject, get some information, and see how you can apply it in your own life. And then go from there. And you will find that you're going to realize a ton of different things that you hadn't thought about 6 months ago, 90 days ago, a year ago, 10 years ago. You're going to be able to apply it to situations and memories that you had. Like, man, if I'd have done this, that might have worked out a little better. There's a reason we school our kids. There's a reason we have colleges. There's a reason we have this massive knowledge base. And it doesn't have to be in firearms, but we like to train in firearms. That's kind of our thing, right? So we stay in our lane. But let's go get something and then come back and apply it to a situation or something like that.
Well, and that could go for even as far as, like you said, so many different things of, you're looking to do something, get quality training. He said, we do firearms, but I want to learn how to do, use a tourniquet. Go get training.
Yeah. Take a Stop to Bleed class. They're free, by the way.
Even something as simple as, nobody really thinks of it. Everybody thinks of having to change a tire as something that's, kind of more of a pain in the ass than anything else. But if you think about this, if you get a flat tire in not one of these now defunded, cities, knowing how to be, gaining the knowledge and skill to be able to quickly and effectively change a flat tire on your car could literally save your life.
Yeah,
so
it's that simple.
Think about these, all these different things, and apply it all and get quality information and quality training.
Yeah. Yep. Quality information, quality training. We like to reiterate one of the worst statements in the training industry. It doesn't matter if it's firearms or not. My buddy said. I can't tell you how many times we hear this. My buddy said. If anybody ever is talking to you and for any reason they say, my buddy said, stop listening. Because that's like a lottery ticket for wrong right there. It just
Most of the time.
Heard it in the automotive industry, hear it in the firearms industry. My buddy said. No, I don't want to know what your buddy said because he's probably wrong. Go find some quality information on it.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, guys, that's what we got for you tonight. Everybody, thanks for joining in. Could have done something else with your evening, but you were here with us for about an hour. We enjoy you guys. Something you want to see on the show, something you want to talk about, send us a comment, send us an email. Send us a request on our website, spoonccw.com. Hey, we want to see this. You find a video out there you want our opinion on, you send it to us, spoonccw@gmail.com, and we'll take a look at it. We like doing this. Have a great time doing this. Get to talk to a bunch of different folks. And everybody, thanks for joining, and we will see you next week right here, same time.